What's up, everybody? Welcome to IGN's live stream of Aliens, Colonial Marines. I'll be your host today. My name is Damon Hatfield. This is Brian Burleson. He is the senior producer on the game. Thank you for joining us today, Brian.
Thank you.
We're also joined by Chris Failer, community manager at Gearbox. He's going to be driving for us today. So if you, if we die a lot, it's not us. It's Chris.
Don't
over
die.
here.
Okay.
We're going to start off with some single-player gameplay, I believe. The first mission of the game, right?
Yes.
And we're going to be showing you a lot of the game today, both single player and multiplayer. We'll be taking questions. If you have any questions, just tweet them at IGN, and we'll answer them for you. And we also have 10 copies of the game to give away for the platform of your choice. So just tweeting us at IGN with your question automatically enters you to win those. Let's get right into the game, though, right now. Brian, do you want to tell us a little about what Aliens Colonial Marines is?
Sure thing. So at the beginning of the game, you're starting about 14 weeks after the film Aliens. And so what happened was there's a stress signal that was sent out, and that's kind of curious because at the end of Aliens and Alien 3, something happened in the Sulaco, and it's reported missing. And so this is very strange. And so Sephora, a Conestoga class ship, is going to pretty much the sister ship of the Sulaco that you saw in the film, is going to LV-426 to figure out where this stress signal came from, and they were on a coast of the Sulaco, and that's not normal.
Right.
And so what happens is you board the ship, but you're not, when you start playing, you're not the first one boarding the ship. There's a lot of Marines who went over before you. And as things go in the Aliens universe, things didn't turn out so well. And so when you go over there, you're trying to figure out what happened to the Marines that went on before you. And so that's pretty much where it starts, and yeah.
So the game's out February 12th, right?
Yes.
So when people pick it up on February 12th and they hit the start button, this is what they're going to see first off in the game, right?
Exactly.
All right, let's get right into it.
Right.
Oh yeah, we're going to continue. So this is a familiar face.
Yes, that's Corporal Hicks.
I'm a big Aliens fan.
On LV-426 and request immediate assistance aboard the USS Sulaco. Of the survivors, myself, 2 human females, one of which is a child.
So pretty much Corporal Hicks here is telling you the distress signal. So this is the signal that the Marines got. And this is pretty much all the information you have going into this. And so it's very mysterious because this something happens.
So we don't have sound here. I couldn't tell. Did you get Michael Biehn to V. Hicks?
Yes, that was actually Michael
That's
Biehn.
awesome.
Isn't that crazy?
That is very exciting.
It was really cool because when we were working on the game, we worked with a lot of people who had worked on the original film, and that was insane. Actually, to meet these people who
I bet, yeah.
Aliens is like a lot of our favorite films,
Of
right?
course,
To
of course.
actually meet the actors
Rise and shine,
and then reprise the
Marines.
roles.
This isn't a
Crazy.
drill, and you aren't in Kansas anymore. On your feet, Marines. For any new recruits, I'm Captain Cruz, and you are my crew on the USS Sephora. We responded to a distress
bishop
call
back
sent
there?
out 17
That's,
weeks ago.
that's a bishop.
USS
So there's
Sulaco.
in the universe,
Rhino
there's
2-3 went in
synthetics, right?
first
So there's a
and
lot
encountered
of
heavy
bishops.
resistance.
So that's the bishop that's
you
for
were the
the
last of the battalion to get
Sephora.
popped out of trial.
And so the
So
Sephora
I don't
bishop
want to
is
hear
a
any
little younger.
bitching
He hasn't
because
as
we
much,
let you lugheads sleep in late.
experience as the bishop.
Get
that was on
combat ready,
Aliens.
and I'll see
And
you
so
in the
he's a little
hangar
bit more
in 20
coarse in how
months.
he exchanges with people.
Name and rank? Corporal Christopher Winter, 118th Battalion aboard the USS Sephora.
Speed board the ships.
Corporal Winter, I'm sending in Rhino
The player
2-1 to
is
reinforce
a
2-3.
Colonial Marine.
Yes, the player's a Colonial Marine. So the player that you see on the right, that's Winter, and that's the player, that's the character you play in the game.
Okay.
And that's Cruz there. He's Captain Cruz. It's pretty cool. He has actually a synthetic leg. If you get to see him actually full body, he's actually has a.
Winter does?
No,
Attention
Cruz does.
chicks and
Cruz
dicks
does.
of the USS Sephora. As of right this second,
I see.
Rhino 2-1 and Rhino 2-3 are fighting to get a hold of the situation we're in. We don't leave Marines behind. Over the next 2 hours, we're gonna send a series of dropships over to aid with Kazovac on the USS Sulaco.
Are we being briefed on our mission at this point?
You are being briefed on your mission. That's Reed. She's the dropship pilot. You run across her a couple of times in the game. She's a pretty important character.
We don't know how that boat got back here. Right now, we're worried about what's killing our Marines in there. This is a liquid situation. Information to
Sweet
follow
helmet.
as it comes online. Ready up. Good hunting,
Speaking
Marines.
of, you have a pretty sweet helmet with you today.
I actually do. Wear it here a little bit.
Listen up. What I need right now.
So this was pretty fun to make. So we, the Sephora is pretty much a sister ship of Sulaco, right? So a lot of the layouts are very similar. And going back and recreating the dropship hangar in Aliens was really cool because we're pretty nitpicky about that stuff, and so we explore every little bit. But one of the things that we did was explore new places. And so we worked with Sid Mee, the futurist, the concept artist, who did a lot of the original designs for Aliens, to come back and help out again. And so this is a airlock room. So you're gearing up and you're about to go across. And this is one of those areas that Sid helped us actually conceptualize because we never saw this in the film.
Sure. This is such an iconic gun with the digital ammo counter there.
Yeah. So this is the SMG he's using right now. Switch over to the pulse rifle. See, that's the radial. It's got a lot of selections. We've already unlocked everything, so yeah. This is actually the pulse rifle Mark II. There's two different pulse rifles in the universe. The one that you saw in Aliens, the more classic design, actually has the counter on the right. This Mark II is kind of a more advanced one. Some time has passed. They've distributed some more guns, but it also supports some rails and some other additional attachments. And we'll talk about more about the attachments and weapon customization a little
later
bit.
on in the show.
But when you play through the game, you actually find the original pulse rifle as well.
Nice.
So you get to both for the fans who are really into that.
How long have you been working on this game?
Oh God, I've been working on this game for a long time.
Right?
It's been pretty fun though.
This is not good.
Oh no, something happens.
Winter, what the hell just happened in there? Raider 6-5, are you in the air yet? Explosive decompression in the Sulaco.
This is Raider 6-5. The umbilicals vent.
So right now on the Sulaco, there's a lot of combat and a lot of action going on. So that's you just saw an explosion of something. You're not quite sure what happened. So when you get over there, you're going to start trying to figure out what maybe caused that.
Get to the other side and we're shutting it down.
Continuing on to the Sulaco. Winter out.
Sephora actual. This is O'Neill. Got casualties. Several injured over here. Need a corpsman right away for the down Marines from Rhino 2-1. Negative 2-1. That explosion jacked the airlock on our end. We cannot use the umbilical without risking more lives. Sit tight and stabilize our Marines. 2-1, what is the status of 2-3?
So it looks like the explosion that happened above you claved in the ceiling, which O'Neill's squad that came before you, yeah, it didn't work out well for him.
Another iconic device from the film.
Yes. That's the motion tracker, and so you can see there's for friendlies we actually have these little diamonds on there to help make it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. But the Xenos and everything are blue, and so that's actually the motion tracker picks up any motion. So there's a number of times where you're not quite sure what's causing the ruckus. Now here's the dropship hangar from Aliens. So this is on the Sulaco now.
So this would be Bishop's lower half.
Yep. For some reason they didn't pack his legs.
Yeah,
up.
just
They
they
packed
just
his
left him.
torso up. They don't need the legs, I guess. But this is kind of cool. If you look to the left, Chris, see those little those grates that are pulled up. So in the film, the Queen's pulling up the grates trying to get Newt.
Right.
And so we actually put the grates where the Queen was pulling them up, and so that's where the Queen ripped Bishop apart and tossed the legs to the side. So we actually we're pretty crazy about this stuff. So we actually
that's
figured out
awesome.
where his legs landed and put him out there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it should be becoming apparent now that your enjoyment of this game will be enhanced greatly if you've seen the film Aliens.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Now
So-
you don't need to actually like. Oh, this is another cool Easter egg. So you can see like there's Hudson's locker. And
Nice,
there's
and
Vasquez's
Vasquez,
locker.
very cool.
Um,
I mean, viewers, do yourself a favor. If you've never seen the film Aliens, correct that
yes.
that mistake immediately.
So actually, pull up your motion tracker again. So okay, one of the little devices we have in the game is you have an eyepiece that you flick down at the beginning, and that's what your HUD is. And so when you pull up the motion tracker, it attaches to your HUD to give you some kind of display of where things could be in the distance. Now they're not completely accurate, so you still need to explore. But when you put down the motion tracker, that'll go away.
I see.
So yeah,
So that's how you can keep track of where you should be heading.
exactly. But it's not up all the time that
Sure.
just clutters it up. Less HUD, the better. Speaking of which, you can actually turn off the HUD
Entirely?
in badass mode. Yeah. It's another fun Easter egg. There's these are the hypersleep chambers that we saw in the film, and they've been injected, so you can actually see where Ripley and Newt and Bishop and those guys got shot down. But this is all kind of history. So in the
Sure.
course of the game, like if you've never seen the films, you're not going to like, oh man, I don't get any of this stuff.
Right.
Because this is all leading into like trying to figure out what happened on the Sulaco. Because it's kind of odd that there's tarp everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so that wasn't in the film. So something has happened on the Sulaco since last time you actually saw it in the film. So all this other stuff is kind of leading into things aren't adding up. The welder, another classic.
Another. All right, so getting into some organic
Yep.
decorations.
Some infestation. It's a little humid, but it's a dry heat.
Right. Okay.
Oh, found some Colonial Marines that went before you.
Where am I? Winner! Grab your torch. Get me the hell out of here. Yeah! Shoot that thing! Yeah! Shoot that thing!
So about 10 minutes into the game is
Yep.
when the first alien appears.
That's a Lurker, so it's actually a stronger, faster Xeno. It's very similar to the alien that you saw in Alien, and so he actually has kind of a clear cranium. And he pounced on top of you. He's the guy who likes to evade the player. He's not going to just run at you like the aliens from Aliens. And so he's a lot harder to track down. And one of them's hard enough, but when you get multiples in there, it's really tricky because they start trying to flank you. Because they're just like the alien from Alien, where they don't want to run straight at the human they're trying to
Right.
pull away. They're actually trying to, there you go. They're trying to grab him and pull him away, so they want to sneak up behind him. So it's very rare to see them run straight in front of you.
Sephora Actual, this is Winter. I've located keys from Rhino 2-3. There's some bodies down here, but some are missing.
So when you're designing these environments, how do you have to keep the acid blood in mind, right? You have to like build for like any room where you're going to be shooting aliens. You probably have to
Yeah, so
plan for that.
So acid does hurt you, and so if you're shooting a bunch of Xenos, you want to be careful about where you're pathing and where you're actually like where you're telling the player to go, because if you just have a bunch of Xenos up in front of you, you have to go there eventually.
Right.
So we have to keep that in mind.
The flight recorder can get us that. With all due respect, sir, my squad means you shut your goddamn mouth and follow your orders. Actual out.
Hell
with the orders. The flight wreck isn't too
Go check
far
on the
from
eggs.
here. We grab it, link up with Rhino 2-1. O'Neal, you still there?
Oh,
Is a camera set up here?
it looks like it.
No. You gotta buy us 10
You
minutes.
probably don't want to get too close to those closed ones.
You've got 5 to get that recorder and get back here. Keep an eye
What's
out
the
for
camera looking at?
bodies. No rod of ashes, Marine.
Oh,
We'll keep an eye out. Thanks, O'Neal. Thanks for doing this, Winter. And if you think you see movement, don't think. Just shoot.
So we're still in the Sulaco, correct?
we're still in Sulaco.
Something's down here with us. I won't let him take me again.
Contact! Contact! Here we go! Sweep it in from the right!
So these are the soldiers, they're a lot more, they're going to run at you and try to get to you. They're going to overwhelm you, and that's kind of their goal. But they're also going to try to use the environment to get around you at the same time. And so you really want to make sure that these guys are going to get up on top of you, and you need to, keep them away. Because all the Xenos, no matter what difficulty mode you're in, if they get on top of you, they can kill you really fast. Like, we don't really pull any punches on this one. Like, they're lethal. And so you really want to make sure that you're killing them from a distance. Like, you just shot him too close and you got acid on him.
I see.
So you want to make sure that you don't kill them too close. You can melee them away. When you do, it gives you a better chance to shoot them without getting acid on you.
Watch our backs! Room! The central console! Get the
So one of your first missions is to actually get the flight recorder to understand what happened on the Sulaco and see where it's been. And so this is you getting the flight recorder, because O'Neal, that was O'Neal's initial mission. But since he was, he was incapacitated with his ceiling caved in on him.
Okay.
You're now taking up his
Flight wreck didn't tape the assholes
mission.
that did it to the Sulaco. If we make it back with this thing, who knows what we'll find out.
We are starting to get some questions in from our viewers. Dylan Burros asks about, he wants to know how much customization there will be in your loadouts and appearance, and we're going to be showing that a little bit later on.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to
Oh,
be showing that extensively.
Yeah. It's pretty fun because, really when you play through the game, when you get new weapons and you actually start upgrading them, the gameplay changes quite a bit. And also all that stuff goes to multiplayer as well. So
Right. Which we'll also be showing a little bit later on.
yeah. Yeah, these environments in the Sulaco are so fun to work on because they really were like, Sid Mead working with us to actually figure out what these were like parts of the film we never saw.
Sure.
And then the artists actually going in there and making them, and environment artists decorating the environments. It's such a fantastic job with the lighting and the atmosphere, and it really brings back that mood. It's one of those things we're pretty proud of.
The sounds of the guns and of the aliens are also very important.
Oh yeah. Do you know the aliens are actually baboons? Like they actually
that what
they
use?
recorded
Wow.
baboons and then they
That's so cool.
Put them through a bunch of filters and
Sure.
that's what you get.
On the dropship! Watch this! Grenade out! Keys, wait!
Whoa.
Why did you do that?
Mine! Get to the umbilical!
So one of the things in the game, if we want to talk about health and armor, so your armor does not regenerate. Once you run out of armor, you run out of armor. And your health, you see the 3 little segmented bars down there? Those will regenerate up to the bar, right? So basically, Zeno will hit you about 3 times and he'll kill you. It's like 3 1/4 or so, depending on how low your life you are. So it makes it so that you don't like regen all your health and go hide in a corner and then wait for this, like, I'm gonna
Sure.
wait until my life comes back. Actually, you are in danger, and you actually do have to find ways to get around. because you can't just stand there, because Xenos will get to you. Like, they're not just going to, they don't have guns. They're not going to stand back and try to shoot your head.
And then how do you refill a bar?
So your armor, you got to go pick it up. And then if you, a little bit time out of combat, you'll start regenerating your health up to the segment that you're in. And then you got to go get med packs to actually get the rest of the segments. And Pharaoh's going to die. Oh, no.
So we just completed a challenge. Those little in-game.
Yep. So when you play through the game, there's a bunch of challenges you can actually complete, and the challenges reward you with things. And so you really want to check out the challenges and see what other new cool things you can get. There's also a leveling up system, and when you level up, I'll show you how that works.
Oh no, this isn't gonna be good.
Poor Paluski.
Nice.
We lost the flight, right? Keys had the recorder on it. It was all for nothing.
Well, we're not dead. So, there's that.
All right, so we've exited the Sulaco.
No, you're still in the Sulaco.
Okay.
The umbilical connecting you to the Sephora, like everyone was trying to get off the ship, and that didn't work out so well. So, as many things do, and I'll repeat that a lot. There's a theme in Aliens is you always think you have control, and when the second you think you have control, everything goes. Like you just never can have control, and so there's always kind of a false sense of security.
Marines en route, and we gotta get them somewhere to land. The hangar's out of commission, but we got room in the cargo base.
So what will be our next objective?
So right now you're trying to actually, so you'll see it here in a second. You're going down into the middle of the ship to actually find another way to get off the ship, and so there's only one way to go, down.
What else can we see on our HUD here? A flashlight indicator, just to let you know your flashlight is on.
Yep, pretty much. There's infinite battery on it, so it doesn't run out. You got your grenades over there, so you want to pull out a grenade real fast? There you go. Don't use it.
Very cool.
And so that's pretty fun. You got your pistol, you have a sidearm, and your weapons. You have a loadout of your primary and secondary, and you can toggle that with pretty much pressing Y or the that's what you have like ready access to. You can swap between really fast. And if you want to see your rest of your arsenal, you can pull up your radial menu if you want to pull that up real fast. And you can swap between what your primary and secondary weapon is. And that gives you the ability to quickly swap between something, but also have a backpack full of your weapons.
So it's pretty early in the game and we already have all these weapons?
No. This is a save game from pretty much.
Got it.
He's already ranked up quite a bit up there.
Nice. So then in the bottom right is your ammo.
Yep, you got your ammo, and you got your magazine size. You also have your underbarrel ammo, and so your pulse rifle comes with an underbarrel grenade launcher, but you can also customize that for different underbarrels. So right now he just has the grenade launcher. At the top of your screen, you'll see you have that's your leveling up bars, and so he's about he's 2 segments in.
What's his name?
On the
Hicks.
it's kind of covered up with the light. The number 11, that's your commendations, and that's what you use to actually buy upgrades and more stuff for your character.
Okay.
Sending a signal to weigh you. We ain't got time to sit around and play Sherlock. Get back to the cargo bay. Both of you. Out.
Sephora Actual. This is Bella from Rhino 2-3. Do you read?
Loud and clear, 2-3. What's your status?
Woke up gagging on a creature like a spider. It wrapped around my face. It's dead, sir. I got separated from my squad. Any news from the rest of my guys?
Rest of 2-3 is presumed dead. I'm sorry, kid. Remnants of Rhino 2-1 are on their way to the cargo bay. Can you get to the cargo bay, 2-3?
Garnet? Keys? I can't even.
So one of our viewers, SJ449, is curious about the drop-in, drop-out co-op. Can you explain a little bit about how that works?
So yeah, right now you could just drop in, just join the game. If it's a public, if you, depending on what you have, you can just say, hey, let my friends in. You can actually have people drop in. You can also, just go online and matchmake and try to find some people. But as long as your friend invites you to the game, you can totally jump in. And it's really fun because you'll just pop in. So there's no actually have to restart any checkpoints or anything like that.
For up to 4 players?
Up to 4 players. Up to 4 players.
On your right!
So this is a fun little section that shows off our deferred renderer quite well. So everything in the game is, all the lighting is dynamic. And so you'll see a lot of shadows and a lot of lights that are very, very darks and very, when you want to have something from the film where they can cut the lights and they can do all this really cool stuff. You really have everything super dynamic. So that's one of those cool bits. You can see all the Xenos casting their shadows here. Along the way, you can also find these audio logs, and the audio logs have some backstory about what's going on. That fill in what you're walking into a little bit. There's also nice little Easter eggs, like when you get to Hadley's Hope. Nice.
One of our viewers, Russian Pumbloom, asks, how nervous were you diving into a movie franchise that everyone loves?
Pretty nervous. It's one of those things like when you grow up with a film, and when I was a kid I saw it. I shouldn't have seen it because I was too young. But man, it was awesome. Like I ran around like acting like I had a pulse rifle with all my friends in the neighborhood, and but that's one of those. It affected me. I know it affected a lot of people who worked on the game too. I mean, Randy always says it's just like he's been stealing from the game forever. But yeah, for me personally, then it's just one of those things where you want to do right, you want to do it well, and so you really want to dive in there and just do the best you can. And so with that in mind, we really wanted to contribute something to the universe, not just do something like that's extended universe or anything. We wanted to actually make it canon. And so this is actually canonical. So we worked with Fox and a lot of the original guys who worked on the films to make it canonical. So everything you see here actually happens. So if there's another film or another game, in the universe, in the timeline, we're actually part of that.
That is very cool.
So there's a great responsibility there. But we're pretty proud of it. And, it's something that when you're done playing the game, you'll feel like you'll feel like Alien 3 is a better film for it.
Oh, well.
It's just,
play
the game. You'll understand what I said. Now, this is an interesting environment because it shows off that Xenos can climb on any surface. And so, they're climbing over the walls and they're going underneath the walkway here. And so they go underneath the walkway and go up behind you and come out to try to get you from behind. And that's pretty, because you never know where they're going to come from. Your motion tracker is really important. Now, Failur's played this dozens of times already, so he's a pro. He's a pro. But you'll see, when you see the motion tracker, you'll see the little ping on the bottom, and that's on by default. You can turn it off. But that is a kind of indication that something's going on. Like if you don't have your headphones on or if you're hearing impaired, that's what that's for. But really, you hear that ping and you got to pull out your motion tracker and see what's going on.
Nice.
And he hurt himself by doing that. So you can actually fatality some of the Xenos. So if you melee them at certain times, oh god, pull your motion tracker again. Yeah, there's a bunch.
So you're just talking a little bit about how this is, canonical within the Alien universe. One of our viewers, Super Porkzilla, asks why the decision to go off canon and add new Xenomorph species.
It actually, it's not actually off canon. We would talk to Fox and we dug around a little bit, and one of the things that we took on was, a lot of other films, they took like, hey, if you have something come out of something else, like a Pred Alien and that stuff. Which Predator's not really part of the universe. It's kind of extended universe.
Right.
So, but there's still that element. But one of the things that we really explored was something that Cameron really explored, was at the Hive hierarchy. And so you actually have like Xenos in this Hive fulfilling different roles. And depending on what the role is, they're going to look different. They're going to act different. And so, the alien from Alien is kind of a scout. He goes out there and he's trying to, figure out what's going on. He's going to sneak up on people and take them away. And, if you saw the special edition, the director's cut of that, you saw him kind of cocooned up, and so there's something there. But they're more lurker-ish, right? They're gonna be ones that go out there and do that. Cameron's kind of explanation for that was that, depending on like if there's a queen around, if there's other Xenos around, they kind of evolve a little differently, or they grow up to be a little bit differently, because they know what's going around them. So depending on how big the Hive is and what's going on, different Xenos are going to come out having different roles. And so for us, we had some of these new xenotypes. Some of it was for start off as kind of like gameplay, but we had to think about it also from the sense of, how does it work in a Hive? And so when you play the game, you'll see kind of how the Crusher and the Spitter turn out and how that makes sense in the Hive, because they actually have a role in that. And the other Xenos that you see, there's actually not really that, there's not that much new in that. I don't want to spoil anything really.
Sure.
But they're all part of things you saw in Aliens or Alien. But it's interesting to think also what happens to Xenos when they get older. So there's no, and also what happens when there's no queen. Like that's kind of curious, because if you ever have an ant hive or an ant farm as a kid?
Sure.
There's no queen, but they still dig holes. They still keep doing their job. But after a while, they started kind of getting messed up, and they start dying off slowly. So something happens there. But also, on Hadley, so atmospheric processor blew up, and so that's kind of, something happened there. So there's a lot of questions like what happens to Xenos when the environment changes, or what happens when the situation changes to them. And so we explore that a lot.
Now, what has just happened here?
Okay, so you're trying to get off the ship, right? So Reed, in an act of, oh God, like we're gonna get you off the ship, she crashes into a cargo bay with the dropship to try to get you out. And that's it.
Nice. So is that the full first mission of the game?
That's the full first mission.
Very cool. I think we're gonna switch over and what are we gonna show now? We're either gonna show multiplayer. I think we'll show some weapon customization first.
Sweet. I think I just leveled up so we can actually see some stuff. This is what happens when you actually level up your character and then play the game again. There's a lot more content that you keep getting.
Sure. Well, we switch over here. We do have 10 copies of the game to give away. Let's go ahead and give one away to Babylon Wanderer, who asks, will the alien numbers increase when you're playing co-op? Will there be more enemies?
So in co-op, depending on where you're at and what the situation is, when you have more friends with you, some things change, right? Sometimes the Xenos come from different angles. So like in single player, you usually don't want to put Xenos behind the player, like at the beginning. But when co-op, when you have co-op players, you can actually kind of cover each other's six. You can actually do more with different, spawning from different locations, and also there's more of them sometimes. It just kind of depends on the situation. So when you play through the game, you'll see that change all over the place. But we did that by hand, and so depending on the combat,
I see.
The co-op actually changes for that combat.
Nice. All right, so customizing your loadout.
All right, so here's the M41A Pulse Rifle Mark II. So that's pretty much that's the new Mark II for the Pulse Rifle. And you'll see it has a side rail on the side, and it also has a different rail on top, so you can actually customize it. I know a lot of people who are really hardcore pointed that stuff out, but that's just for the Mark II. So what you can see on the left, you see a lot of things for your alternate fire. And so you can change things, like for that you have, that's your tactical shotgun. So your underbarrel could be a grenade launcher, or a shotgun, or the next one's going to be a firebomb launcher. Pretty hardcore upgrades there. But it just depends on the situation. So if you're going through there in a grenade, like Xenos get on top of you so fast that if you use the grenade, you might kill yourself. So you might want to actually use the shotgun. But if your secondary weapon's a shotgun, you have to switch to it, and so that takes some time. So you might just want to make it your underbarrel. So it's a strategic choice, and that's also really important for multiplayer as well. To kind of think about that. Oh, got a bunch of sights on the sides. Extended magazine clips. Some of the
some paint jobs.
Paint jobs. Classics. Yeah, one of the artists up at Gearbox, Evan Gill, he did a lot of those the custom paint jobs, and he made so many of them, it was ridiculous. And so we had to be like, all right, let's just pick the.
We're probably good on paint jobs.
But they're pretty cool.
So can you just customize in between missions?
No, you can actually, in the middle of a mission, anytime. You can actually customize it. So when you level up, we don't want people to have to exit the game to actually go change what they got.
Sure.
It's just not really, it doesn't feel right. So you actually do it in the game. So what you want to do is between combat, when it's a little slower, check out what you just got, upgrade, purchase your upgrades, and then get back into the action. Because if you're in the middle of combat, it doesn't. You're probably going to die because you're just over there playing around the corner with your weapons. So you want to keep going.
And there's also player customization as well, correct?
Yes. And so if you change your appearance, this is pretty cool. These are a bunch of heads and different characters. What's really cool about this is a couple of them are actually from the guys who helped us make the game that manned the booths at E3 and PAX and stuff.
It's their likeness.
Chris Duplass and Sean Mayo. They're actually here. So
nice.
It'd be pretty cool to swing them around sometime, and we can actually look at their. So that's actually Chris right there. Take off his helmet. Yep, at the bottom. There you go. That's him. So it's pretty cool because these guys, they really helped us a lot. And when we first met them at E3, I think this was in 2010, they actually clued us into this this whole fan group that was really intense on aliens, and that was really inspiring because for years this it's an old film, and it's just
86.
Yeah, 86.
I think. Yeah.
And so it's really cool to think these guys they made their own armor, they go to all these events, they dress up like Colonial Marines, and that is awesome because they're like keepers of the flame. They're the ones who really took it all the way here, and so it's really cool to actually give something back to the community who's been sticking around for so long.
And I think we're going to show some team deathmatch now, correct?
Oh yeah.
Is this is it Marines versus Xenos? Is that the setup?
Yep, Marines versus Xenos. It's asymmetrical gameplay. What's going to happen is you're going to be on the Marine side or the Xeno side first, and then you swap. And that's how you kind of get your score with your team. But it's really interesting. I like how you set up all the names, Chris. That's pretty awesome. So.
Oh yeah, those are names from the
film. I think you spelled Rico wrong.
Come on, Chris. Jonesy is the cat. I think I also saw you can customize if you're playing as a Xeno, you can also customize your appearance there.
Yes, you can.
Are there paint jobs on the Xenos?
There's some subtle
nice.
changes in your appearance that you can do. Yep. Oh, and you can also change loadouts for your Marines in multiplayer. So it's a kind of a different system because you don't have your radial in multiplayer. So this is kind of because you get in there, you play, and you play quick rounds. And this is a really good way to set up your character before you get into the round. Switch it over to Angie. You're doing the yeah, okay.
All right, we're going to get our deathmatch started here in just a moment.
All right, we're starting us with Xenos. So, some strategy for the Xeno players. You have to think like a Xeno, because depending on what class you start off as, and you can choose this between deaths, you're going to be careful. You come on any surface, which is really kind of one of the novel things for the multiplayer mode. It's literally you can climb on everything, and that's, from the development standpoint, that's really scary. But since you climb on everything, he's playing as a Lurker right now, and so he got killed by his friend. You are going to not want to run at the Marines direct on, because you don't have a lot of health, right? But you're very strong. So the challenge for Xenos is how to get as close to them as possible without dying. And so that's going to require a lot of stealth and a lot of hiding in the corners and lurking around. So you got to think like a Xeno, because a lot of players who first start playing, they play like Marines and they just get on the ground and they just run around the world, and they die really fast. And so they feel like it's not quite balanced. But the thing is, once you start actually thinking and playing like a Xeno, it's ridiculous how efficient you can be as like the most lethal killing machine ever.
Nice.
Yeah, you can kill him in one shot.
So 3 classes, 3 Xeno classes.
So yeah, right now you can switch between 3 different classes. On the left you have the soldier, in the middle you got the spitter, and on the right you got the lurker. The spitter is the range type, and so he's going to he's really the only range you have, and he's going to want to get far away from the Marines and hit them from a distance, and it puts kind of an acid dot on them, and that makes it so they can't regenerate their health, and they get a lot of damage for it. So strategically, you want to usually have one of these in your group. And when you charge up, you can't move as fast. Yeah, for this map, you probably don't want to use the spitter too much because it's very close corridors. And some of the other maps, you actually have further distances. But depending on what your team strategy is, you're going to be able to use that spitter or the lurker in different capacities. One of the fun things to do is actually corral the Marines, because it's really fun, because you run out there, people have this natural instinct to shoot whatever runs in front of them. And so you just dart out in front of them and run away, because they're a lot faster than the Marines, and they'll chase you. And so all the other Xenos can hide and then wait for them to come through the door, and they'll just pounce on them as they go through the door.
So how many players does it support?
So you got I think we have 4v4 right now. We got 5v5, and you can play 6v6 in private matches. In different game modes. Oh, wow. I think they have the rocket launcher. Go. All right, there you go. Do it. Ah, yes.
That was a good one.
Yep. So that goes to show, like, if you get up on top of them and you jump around, you can just tear apart the Marines so fast. Oh. Get him.
Is this the kill count in the upper right?
Yeah, so Xenos have 7,
okay.
and
No,
Marines have 21.
so well right now.
Yeah. Go pick up one of the power-up Xenos. All right. So you can actually there's other types of Xenos you can get in the maps depending on what the situation is, and so there's one that one of the other Xenos might have picked it up already. So they have different things. Like that's how you get the Crusher. Is that little the power-up will kind of spawn, and you actually have to go pick it up, and then you turn to the Crusher, and then you can just go on a rampage and kill everyone. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Our Xeno highways. Oh, don't run at him! Don't run at him! So one of the things you'll see, the Xenos have kind of a Xeno vision. They can sort of see through walls. It's kind of based on acoustics, and so if the Marines aren't running around, if they're not actually like causing much noise, they're not going to show up very brightly. And so that's another kind of subtle strategy Marines can have, is to go slowly. Don't just run around and like just shoot things, because the Xenos will be able to see you easier.
So now we switch sides and play as Marines.
Time to play Marines.
How many different multiplayer modes are there?
And so there's 4 multiplayer modes. You have Escape, you have Team Deathmatch, you have Extermination, and you have Survivor. So right now we're playing Team Deathmatch. I think we're going to play Escape a little later. And so this one's just, you run out there, you try to kill as many things as you can, and you die, you respawn. In Escape, you don't have that option. As Marines, you have 1 life, and if you die, you die. And what you have to do is, if one of your guys goes down, it's kind of like in Borderlands, where you're kind of in a last stand kind of situation, and so you actually one of your guys has to come over to you and stim pack you to pull you back up for you to live. And if you die, you die, and it makes it that much harder for you to for the rest of the guys to get to the map. But that's the goal of the mission, is it's objective based. So the Marines have to get from point A to point B and do certain objectives to get out of there, because they ran a mission and they're trying to escape. Whoa.
Thank you.
One of our viewers, PR Dingo, asks if you have a horde mode.
Which mode?
A horde mode?
So the 4 multiplayer modes we talked about were those. That's one of those cool modes, and we're thinking about that. So you might want to stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
So
tantalizing.
Nice.
Might want to pull your motion tracker. Look behind you.
Hey, good ass in my face.
Oh yeah. One of the most powerful weapons in the game.
Now, one of our viewers has the Twitter handle Burrito Tester, which would be a pretty cool job.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's not bad. His question is it possible to change the alien's perspective from third to first person?
No, it's just third person. When you get in the ceiling, like the perspective changes a little bit depending on where you're at, because it just kind of depends on what your camera can move to. One of the cool things, so when we started making the game in multiplayer, we thought about it. AVP did it, and it was first person, and that was cool. And you felt really kind of like in there doing that, but it was very disorienting for most people, because it was like, as humans, we're not used to actually turning the world upside down and then climbing around in all these very organic ways, and it's very hard to get a sense of direction. And without like a lot of very strong landmarks, it's very hard to kind of get a bearing on things. And so a lot of players just couldn't get into it. Some people did, and they had a lot of fun with it, but it wasn't a lot of people. But one of the cool things is like a melee class, because Xenos are typically just, they do basically melee. It's really fun to see them. Actually see them like stab someone in the back or pick them up and like little mouth them in the face. And seeing that is really cool from the third person perspective, because you can really get that sense of physical contact.
What about there's a spitter class, isn't there?
Yeah, the spitter class.
You still consider the melee?
That's the only range-based class, but when you get on top of the player, the spitter also has some really cool melee type things you can do with them.
Burrito Tester, you have a copy of Aliens Colonial Marines coming your way. We're doing much better as Marines.
Oh, it's a boiler. So that's another Xeno type. That's one of the pickups.
Oh no.
Yeah. So acid will kill you. Yes. Everyone always, when you first started showing off the game, a lot of times you played it with God mode on because you do a lot of demos at E3 or PAX, and dying is really unfortunate because you have to restart. And so we play with demigod on, so you won't die. And the one time he didn't, Failure was actually playing the game, and he actually died in the middle of a demo.
Oh, no.
And he had to replay the mission, or since the last checkpoint. And everyone was like, "Oh my god!" It was pretty fun. But yeah, you really want to make sure you don't stand in front of the acid because it will kill you. And in the past, when people always asked, "Will it kill you?" Yes, it will.
Yes.
Depending on what difficulty, the acid does more damage to you. So when you're in Ultimate Badass,
how many difficulty levels are there?
So you have easy, medium, hard, and then you have Ultimate Badass. So
I think we're gonna jump into another match. Is that right?
Yep. So you can see over here too, you have experience for your Xenos on the left, and you have your experience for your Marines on the right. And so you have to play as Xenos to rank up as Xenos. And you have to play as Marines to rank up as Marines.
Yeah, we'll play another death match, and then we're gonna hop back into some more single player.
Oh.
One of our viewers, Pushaman55, asks, are there any specializations or abilities we can add to our soldier or Xeno while doing multiplayer?
Yes, actually. We'll look at that in just a moment. So you can actually customize yourself like that as well. So your Xeno actually has a lot of different attacks and different ways you can actually do like finishing moves and stuff like that. And so when you see the Xeno upgrades here, we'll look at that again in a minute. You'll see some of the different attacks and some different finishing moves and alternate attacks. So you pretty much can customize, each Xeno type has a whole bunch of customizations for like primary you can customize, your secondary can customize, your ability, and that's one of those things like what he was talking about. Your carapace, your trait, which is kind of like a mutation, and then you have, and this is just for the spitter, and then you have your fatality, which is like how you want to just finish someone off. And so each of these has kind of their benefits and downsides. And so you really want to understand, depending on what map you're doing or what play style you want, you can customize it a whole lot. Cool. I was doing the standard. Go for it.
Are there just 3 active challenges at any given time?
Yep. So every challenge that you complete, you have to complete it, and then you get a new one, and then that's how that works. So that's one of those things. Like when we played through the first mission again, there's new challenges that were available that allowed you to actually get new stuff, and so that's one of those ways you can actually keep playing it. Because a lot of games, they have an achievement list, this massive achievement list, and it's hard to keep track of all that stuff. And so we made it very clear, like this is the part, this is what you can think of right now. And if you play it, you're going to get this thing. And so there's actually rewards for completing those challenges directly.
So what map is this now?
Okay, this is actually really cool. This is a Sulaco map. And
Take out as many of them as we can. Move out.
a little too chatty for you?
There were some complaints.
Oh.
How many maps are there?
Quite a few. I don't want to spoil it,
Okay.
but you're going to be quite happy
few.
with what you got there.
Friendly fire?
Not in this difficulty, or not in multiplayer. Yes, you actually have friendly fire and ultimate badass. Another important strategy for a Marine is to stick together. Because if a Lurker jumps on top of you, or if you walk out in the middle of the room, doesn't work out so well. So you really want to stick with your friends. So when you respawn near your other Marines, but not directly on top of them. So you got to go find them and meet back up with them. Oh. Yeah. His name is Power Loader. That's awesome. One of the cool things you can do too is have someone dedicated in the squad to use the motion tracker and call it out. And there's certain landmarks in the map they can say and tell them where to go. And so you really want to work with your friends on this one because this map in particular, there's a lot of ways for the Xenos to get to you. But you also have places where it's safer for the Marines. Wow, that was pretty vicious.
Sounds like communication would be pretty important.
Yes. So depending on what environment you're in, the Xenos have a natural advantage or the Marines do. And so that's why you swap between the two. Each side gets a chance at that advantage. Pop a grenade up there and see what happens.
Whoa.
That's acid.
Is this a map where the Xenos have the natural advantage?
It actually no, it's actually the other way. So that's going to be interesting. Well, this map is pretty well balanced in that respect.
The Xenos are ahead so far.
Wow, you got your face burned off. Congrats.
Let's give a copy of the game to Howler Runner, who asks, what is the maximum level cap?
Level cap is pretty high. It's 60, I believe.
60?
I believe so, yeah.
He also asks if there are plans to raise it in the future.
You never know.
Stay tuned.
So you see in this map, there's it's a lot longer sight lines, and so the shotgun's pretty useful all the time. But it's also when you have these long sight lines, you want to use a weapon with a better range. But there's a floor underneath you, and they're probably going to climb up underneath you and kill you. So you might want to think about that.
We got 1 minute, Marines. Show 'em what we're made of.
Grenade, grenade, grenade!
Do you find that people prefer playing Marines or aliens?
It really depends on the person. I like to play as Xenos because it's really fun to kind of think like a Xeno and get up under there and like sneak around. And one of my favorite things to do is stand, get on the ceiling in a doorway, especially like that one right there, where it's darker, and then stay there and wait for the Marines to come by and tail stab them in the neck as they come through. It's just really vicious to be like, oh, I got that guy. But you can do cool things like that is just like lay traps. So I like the Xenos, but a lot of people like Marines too that are more hardcore first-person shooters. That's one of the spawn points for the Xeno upgrade.
Oh, I see.
And you're dead.
It's bad news.
So it's very fast-paced, especially on Team Deathmatch. In some of the other modes, it's a lot slower because you only have one life, so you can't just spawn Xenos infinitely, and you can't Marines have infinite lives. So it's really cool to kind of see that slow progression throughout the map. People really actually like when they play Escape for the first time, they'll probably die really fast, and that's fine. They'll kind of catch on that you only have one life, and so you really need to stick with your friends, and you really need to use a lot of strategies, and that's where you're going to be like as a team develop some of the best strategies. it's really cool at some of the trade shows at PAX. We had this group of people who came through like 3 or 4 times, and they kept on trying to figure out how to actually like win and escape across the Xenos. And they actually like between matches would talk to each other and come up with a strategy and then test it out. And they had to wait in line, which is just crazy. And they actually won. They're the only ones to actually win against the
Nice.
Because the developers were playing as Xenos, and the challenge was beat us. And when people actually like got that strategy down, they actually did beat us, which was really exciting to see, because that was the momentous moment that they actually were able to go through and kill us.
Xenos are having a rough time so far.
So far. Trying to camp. So this is a great time to get a crusher or get a boiler. Go grab the boiler and just do it. All right, so Chris is going to get the boiler.
Whoa.
So this is an interesting Xeno. He's actually not new. Something happened to him. When you play the game, you'll kind of get an understanding of what these guys are about. But in multiplayer, what he does is he goes out there and blows things up. Do it.
Oh.
Oh, almost. That's one of those
Almost made
fun
it.
things. Like you get out there and there's a group of them actually stuck together. That's one way you can actually break them apart. Is run out there and blow up, and acid goes everywhere, and it kills half of them, and the rest of them are so disoriented by the acid that the Xenos can get in there and pick them off. And so you kind of want to save that depending on what the situation is. As you get more competitive with ACM, you're going to hold off on picking up that pickup because you don't have it all the time. So you want to use it very strategically. That was a good example of a time to do that. Yeah.
Viewers, we're about halfway through our Aliens Colonial Marines live stream today. We still have a few copies of the game to give away. If you would like one, just tweet us at IGN with a question or comment about the game. If we read it live here on the air, that automatically enters you to win. We can give a copy right now to God Nova, who asks, are there separate leaderboards, one for Marines and one for Aliens?
So the leaderboards you see, like between match, you can see that. I'm assuming he's talking about multiplayer leaderboards.
Sure.
Yeah, those are all tied in through the Xbox or the PS3, so you can actually see like your score on that. Now's a good time for a boiler if it's back up. Oh, nope. See, this is when you have really good strategy and sit together. The Xenos have to adapt, and this is a really good way to actually, like as a Xeno player, kind of get it, switch things up and don't keep trying the same thing over and over and over. So you see this cool swing, like when we do focus tests or we go to events, where like the Marines will get it, and then the Xenos have to adapt, and eventually the Xenos will get it, and then there's a nice little like stalemate.
I
and
see.
It is really about that kind of, who's going to like do the most unique thing in there. Oh, there's a smart gun. No one's picked that one up yet.
And how does the boiler work? Does it just take time to
Go on the ceiling and run at them from that direction, because they're going to come at you. They're going to think you're coming from the ground.
Oh, they see you.
Jump, jump, jump. Ah.
Does the boiler just take time to respawn? Or to charge? Or
Yeah, it kind of depends. So turn around. Yeah, it's not back up. Yeah.
Marines, we might just win this one.
Usually, like when a squad of Marines is firing at a Xeno, you can actually go up behind them and get them from the back, from the side, because they're all focusing. People love to shoot things, and so the second you put a Xeno in front of them, they'll shoot that. So other Xenos come in from the side and come in from the back, and you're going to kill them.
Well, we lost that one. It's okay. It's okay though, Chris.
Next time.
I think we're going to jump back into some single player now. Is that right?
Cool.
If I'm not mistaken, I think we're going to show Mission 4, correct? We showed Mission 1 earlier.
So between Mission 1 and Mission 4, a lot of things happen in the Sulaco. And it culminates into pretty much the Sulaco and the Sephora crashing to the surface of LV-426. And so you're coming at the very beginning of this, you're coming from the dropship that crashed to the surface. And so you're going to make it into Hadley's Hope. Now, what's kind of cool about this is the Marines in ACM have no idea what happened in the film. So this is all new to them. And when they come upon things, they don't know what's going on. So they know that the atmospheric processor blew up. They know that Hadley's Hope, the colony, was lost because of the atmospheric processor. But they don't know what else is there. And so they don't really, like, we as people who have seen the film, know Hadley's Hope is a dangerous place.
Sure.
But they don't. But, you know, Hadley's Hope is a pretty strong place. It actually, in the film, you see these windbreakers, and you see, like, it's a very hostile planet. And the atmospheric processor goes and does geothermal energy. And so it's deep underground. And so when the atmospheric processor blew up, it pretty much messed up the planet. And a lot of the explosion was contained more underground. So you'll see evidence of what that does to LV-426. But Hadley's Hope was pretty torn up too, because you saw that, like, you know, final scene of Aliens, one of them, when it goes off, and it's like a giant nuke.
Right.
But Hadley's Hope survived to a certain extent. It's pretty torn up. So when you play through it, you'll see very familiar settings, but they're all kind of twisted and distorted. And as you play through, you'll see more and more of what happened to Hadley's Hope.
Are we ready to jump back into it?
Cool.
Let's do it. So one of our viewers, the OBM, asks, can you equip multiple weapons at once, like Ripley did in the film with the pulse rifle and flamethrower?
The duct taping. Actually, one of the things you can actually get is in the collector's edition, you can actually have Ripley's pulse rifle and flamethrower combo. So
Nice.
That's pretty cool. It's pretty lethal because it's a giant gun and a flamethrower, and you can actually use it in multiplayer too. So it's
very cool.
It's pretty cool.
The OBM, we have a copy of Aliens Colonial Marines coming your way. Bishop gets a lot of screen time here. Is his name Bishop in this?
Yeah, he's a Bishop model.
Okay.
So yeah. So we're getting some backstory here about Bella. She's one of the characters that you picked up on the Sulaco. So when you play through the game, there's other Marines doing stuff, right? So you picked her up, and she's part of your squad now.
What's left of it? Now shortwave's no word for shit down here. But we need to find a way to regroup.
So there's a lot of wreckage here. Off the distance, you can see LV-426 is actually a moon, and you can see more of the satellites in the distance there.
I think it's safe to say that the United
Kind of
States Colonial
nerdy
Marine
reference there. Oh, gotta upgrade some stuff. So, like, this is another example of in the middle of a mission, you can actually upgrade your weapons and customize your stuff, so you don't actually have to quit out of the game to do that. Cool.
All right, so our objective now is...
Get to Hadley's Hope. So they're going to come up with Cruz wants to get a base of operations going, and so he's going to, he's pretty much all the Marines who crashed to the surface of the planet, it's where they're going to meet back up. And so first things first is get there, and see what's left of Hadley's Hope, and set up a base of operations. So yeah, this is kind of a mix between the Sulaco and the Sephora crashing to the surface, as well as the planet. You know, after that atmospheric processor blew up, it's all messed up. So another EEV that crashed down. That They didn't make it. This is kind of cool. It's the crawler that you see in Aliens. So the family at the very, like when they actually get to the derelict and they go in there, that's the crawler.
That's from the director's cut, right? The extended?
Yep.
Yeah.
Change of subject. Sir, what do you know about the Marines that were sent here 17 weeks ago?
Same as you. 2 full squads dispatched with a whaling
The city, a warrant officer named Rip.
It's another fun reference here. So in Aliens, when they run out, like they're driving out the atmospheric processor and they crash in the APC, and so that's the APC from Aliens.
Whalen boarded the ship and brought it back here?
But these are all very new to the characters because they have no idea what's going on. So
They didn't see the film Aliens.
not so much, no.
Now that wreckage in the distance there.
That's going to be, I think that's the Sulaco. It's one of them. And if he turns around, you can actually see the atmospheric processor. So that's what's left of the atmospheric
I
processor.
see. Nice.
You guys heard that, right?
I want to stick around and find out what it was.
She might not look like much.
But Hadley's hope might be the only thing that can keep us alive. We have an operations center to get up.
Running bypass. So, beginning Aliens, when they actually, run out there and, Hudson actually hacks the panel.
We got over 100
Little throwback to that. So here's a fun little movie fact. So Cameron, a lot of times when he was filming, he would just put a strobe like off camera, and so that a lot of those effects, like there's no source of the light, it's just a strobe.
I see.
And so we're trying to recreate that feel. We're evaluating how Cameron did it, and it was like, oh my God, there's strobes everywhere. How are we going to do this? And so we incorporated it naturally as we could, because in a game you can look at anything, you can go anywhere, and so it has to have a source. And so we kind of figured out and kind of created where those sources could come from. There's the trike.
Nice.
It's Anne. I know I said I wouldn't ask for more money, but I need... We found this thing. I thought it had killed him, but it died. It just died. And he says he's fine, but something just feels wrong, and...
Mom, are you okay? Dad's waiting in the cafeteria.
Okay, Newt, just a second, honey. I'll call you back, Mom.
So there's when you play through Hadley's Hope, a lot of stuff happened before the film of Aliens, and so there's little Easter eggs here and there that kind of gives some backstory about what happened on Hadley's Hope.
Now, you may not be able to answer this question. It comes from one of our viewers, Conquer777, but I'll ask it for him anyway. Are there any alien species that have been born from different creatures, such as the alien from 3 that came from a dog?
So in ACM, we don't really explore that, but there's some kind of questions about like some of those. So you're gonna have to play it to see those bits. But there's no Gorillians or anything. But
no what?
No Gorillians or anything.
Okay.
It's kind of crazy because I also, for a Gearbox, I was the producer on Aliens Infestation for the DS, and Way Forward was the developer, and it was really cool because we actually had Gorillians in there.
Nice.
And so if you haven't played Aliens Infestation, totally pick it up. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's a really cool game. So one of our viewers, not the only solo, asks, how important was it to capture both the horror of the first Alien and the action of Aliens, and how did you balance that?
That was one of the concerns we struggled with in development, because it was interesting because depending on what film you saw first, or kind of where you're when you grew up or whatever, your interpretation is different. So if you saw Alien, you kind of perceive them as being very stealthy and very like hiding in the corners, and they kind of reach out at you and crush your head, that kind of thing. And then Aliens came out, and that upset a lot of people who are really big fans of Alien. But a lot of people really love Aliens because it's an action film, right? So there's lots of shooting stuff. There's like some bravado with all the Marines. It's badass, right? And so there's kind of a distinct difference in a lot of people's minds about what those are. But the thing is that's consistent is Aliens, they want to take people and make baby aliens. Like, that's their goal, right? And so they do it in lots of different ways. And so, for like the alien from Alien, he's very like Lurker-ish, and he hides and he does that. We do that in the game. And then we also have the action moments. And so there's a lot of ups and downs. And so in that action and in the horror and the suspense. And so it kind of builds the tension in a lot of ways. And you're not quite sure what's going to happen. And that kind of drives that uncertainty, that you never know when the onslaught of Xenos is going to start, or if one's going to hide around a corner. So we kind of tackled it in that way, where we actually kind of did both. Because really, Xenomorphs aren't Xenomorphs without that. You just can't get away from that in the universe.
Now, was this an area we would have seen in the film?
You do, actually. That was operations. I should have said that, actually. Yeah, go check that out again. So this is ops, and so in the film, this is where they first set up, and Hicks puts on the counts all the ammo, and you can see the atmospheric processor out the window, and there's the map of the colony over there. There's all these cool little references, and that's the map down there that they used for kind of the briefing of what their mission is when they're trying to figure out where the tunnel is to get to the atmospheric processor. And so this is all pretty much directly from the set and directly from the film, just torn up. You can also see, like, in the ground, all the dead Xenos. Those are the Xenos that were in the film got killed. And so I think the one on the right's the one where Hudson gets pulled down.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah. So that's we did that. And the ceiling also has all the grates in it, so you can actually see where the Xenos were crawling around in the ceiling.
This is making me want to watch Aliens so bad.
So as one of the first things you got to do is you got to set some motion sensors around the perimeter, because once you can set up a base of operations, secure the perimeter. But it kind of gets you through this kind of haunted house of what happened. So you're in med labs now, and so this is going to look very familiar. Little side room. You kind of saw it in the distance in the film. Go to left. Okay.
All right, just got the second sensor up and running.
Affirmative winner, all clear to continue.
So this is, Bishop when he was dissecting the Xenomorph. Facehugger, these are those.
What's going on in here?
And this is where Ripley and Newt actually were stuck in the room, and you can see like the bullet fire and broken glass. But this is really cool. That's the bed that was flipped over. And Chris Neely, the environment artist who put this environment together, was obsessive about making sure like the facehugger that's crushed between the wall right there is right there, and the bullets actually where they were in the film.
That's awesome.
It was pretty intense. He was very, very particular about that.
Bishop, you should have a clear link to Sensor 3, over.
Clear copy, winner. Sensor 3 has solid link.
Let's all sleep in a creepy science experiment lab. I'll bring s'mores.
And we haven't even mentioned that we're live streaming from a community event here with Sega and IGN, and we have a bunch of fans in here playing Aliens Colonial Marines. And then there's this sort of green screen photo booth set up next to us where you can have your I think it's you have your picture taken with aliens, or
Oh, yeah,
it's a
with
short
the
video or
face
something. So
huggers
yeah,
and
if you hear people
pulse
screaming
rifles.
over there, they're just being good sports, having their photos green screened onto aliens.
Oh, these are pretty cool. These are the sentry turrets that you saw in the director's cut of the film.
Yeah.
And so you can see the counters had counted down, and the other one didn't count down all the way.
Nice.
And so those are direct from the film.
That was such a cool scene. I didn't know why it was left out of the original cut of the film.
I know, because it gives like some intelligence to the Xenos. Like,
Yeah.
They're not just going to throw themselves out of bullets. They're going to stop. They're going to learn, and they're going to adapt. So here's an interesting part we didn't actually see in the film. This is the morgue.
So which is that?
This is the morgue.
Got it.
And every good colony has to have a morgue.
We're going to give a copy of the game to Fatboy Gumption, who notices it seems like there's a lot of attention to detail. Is that something you believe is crucial to Aliens?
I think it's crucial to making a canonical sequel to Aliens, because it's like, this is all history. This is all things that happened, and so we want to represent that as accurately as possible. And so, you took a lot of painstaking detail to that. Gearbox also worked on Brothers in Arms, which we were so dedicated to authenticity with that game that it kind of carried over to this, because we really wanted to represent that stuff accurately. And since we're all fanboys, like, come on, you have these sweet behind the scene photos and these videos and stuff like that. It's like, oh my God, that's that thing over there. Let's make that. And so it's just, as artists and as game developers, it was really fun doing that.
Did you get audio assets like directly from Fox?
We did, actually. It's really cool. We have a couple of audio clips of like the pulse rifle and the smart gun and the Xenos. And the Xeno one's the best because it's like baboon sounds and they're pitch shifted and all kinds of distortions. Really cool. It's just a loop of them, and it's just so many different variations, and it's fun to set that as your ringtone. I didn't do that, Fox. I didn't do that. Yeah, Fox is really cool to work with because they wanted to make a good game. They wanted to make it a true sequel. Oh.
Do you have any sort of aim assist happening when you pull up your iron sights?
It depends, actually.
On the
between
difficulty level,
multiplayer
or
and single player.
Okay.
No. It also depends if you have a controller or if you're using mouse and keyboard. I'm a pretty hardcore mouse and keyboard guy, so I'm
Are you?
hard to
It's
have that control.
The game's coming for PC, 360, PS3.
Exactly. And the Wii U in the future. Yeah, the Xenos don't necessarily want to die, and so what'll happen is if they look like they're going to die, they'll try to turn tail and get into a hidey hole. And you can see them actually a second ago. They went under the floor to try to come at you from a different angle. And so so sometimes they're trying to get away to get to survive, to come at you a different way. Oh, God.
Whoop, whoop. Nice.
We didn't put God mode on. Oh, this is a ship. You can't put God mode on. Haha. Chris is about to die. This is actually, he's using Hicks shotgun there. He picked up earlier in the game. we have a lot of legendary weapons like that you can actually find where you would see them in the film.
I do, sir. We'll run and grab it.
It's really cool that the sentries are in there. I was going to ask if you had added those.
Oh yeah, and you're actually going to use one right now.
Perfect.
Follow me back.
You can set down the security turret wherever you want. Your objective right now is to put it down within a certain vicinity of the ops. But it's really cool strategically in different multiplayer modes and single player to pick them up, take them with you, move them around, actually use them to your benefit. But they don't have infinite ammo, so you actually have to kind of work it out. They have a lot of ammo though.
The other Marines that are with you here, are those the roles that another player would take on if they join co-op?
Completely new characters.
Okay.
And so these NPCs are with you throughout the course. Now, if you neglect them and you let them get taken down, they'll go out of combat. It's kind of like Skyrim in a sense.
I see.
And so you actually, like, if they go down, the combat gets harder, and it's more likely you're going to die. In single player, however, or co-op, if your co-op friends die, they're going to die too. And so either you have to they'll respawn at the next checkpoint, or stem them. So there's Cruz. He's not doing so well. Survived.
It's imperative we get the relay tower back up now to contact our Marines. We won't last long if it's just us in here.
There is an access tunnel that should take you straight there.
O'Neill, Winter, take the smart gun with you. Get our girls back. Head through the sewer line. That should get you to
Pick
the
up
relay
the smart
tower.
gun. Oh yeah.
Copacetic, sir. Winter, let's roll.
We're going to give away a copy of the game to one of our viewers, Thinking Weasel, who asks, he says, I think I hear music from the Alien films. Am I wrong?
It's very similar.
Nice.
The music is done by a guy named Kevin Ripple. He's actually pretty well known. He's done a lot of music in the game industry. And he did such a fantastic job taking the James Horner and taking a lot of the other kind of Aliens leaf motifs and kind of mix them together into an original score. And but you know, you have those moments and those sounds that like take you back to the film so perfectly. It was really awesome putting that in the game.
And we have some new HUD that's up here.
Yeah, so when you picked up the smart gun, actually your eyepiece, your smart gun eyepiece that you see in the film, you pulled it down, which gives you some good readings on what like your target's mass is and that. So when you play with the smart gun, what it's going to do is lock on to where your crosshair is and follow whatever it is. But you still need to aim a little bit for it to work. But it's pretty devastating when you actually use it, because when you open up, it just tears people apart.
Tractor is getting lit up here. You better get ready for this shit.
That's one of those Brian Martell, one of the owners of Gearbox and the creative director. He was really keen. Like in the movie, when the smart gun like shoots a Xeno, the thing just explodes in a shower of like acid. Which was like, we got to do that because it's not just like, you know, when you shoot him with a pulse rifle or a smaller caliber bullet, it just pops him. It's pretty crazy. So you can see like the devastation on the ground.
Yeah. We just unlocked the Let's Rock achievement, which is, of course, a quote from the film.
Yep.
I think that's Vasquez that says that.
That is. in the film, Jeanette Goldstein, she didn't actually like using weapons. She wasn't used to it. She hadn't been trained in firearms. And so in the scene where
is
they're...
she who played...
yeah, Vasquez.
Okay, got it.
She actually couldn't, like, the recoil just never looked natural. So a lot of it in the film, when you watch it, they cut away from it when she's actually shooting the guns. And in the air ducts, when she shooting the Xeno and she puts her foot on it and shoots it with her pistol, that's actually a double that they did.
Interesting.
And so that's not actually her.
Correct me if I'm wrong. She's in Terminator 2.
Yeah, and Titanic.
And Titanic.
She was the mother in Titanic.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah. Another random fact: if you've seen Galaxy of Terror, it's one of a really old film, very B film. James Cameron was part of that, and Bill Paxton. And you watch the film, you'll see the red hallways in Palace Hope. You'll see something very similar because Bill Paxton apparently helped build those sets, and so it's very weird. Because it's very weird. So definitely go check out Galaxy of Terror.
I think we're gonna hop back into some multiplayer here.
Cool.
Is it time to switch over to some multiplayer again? Yeah, I think we're going to finish up with that today. We have about a half hour left in our Aliens Colonial Marines live stream. Earlier on, we were showing Team Deathmatch. Now we're going to show Escape. Is that correct?
Yep.
So tell us what this mode is all about.
So Escape is very objective based, and so you need to each of these missions kind of has a story behind it a little bit. All the multiplayer missions kind of have a story. So in the course of ACM, the single player game, there's a lot of other things the Marines are doing, and so you're actually a different part of the different squad running missions. And so in Escape, you pretty much are. I'm not quite sure which map we're going to play in, but depending on what map it is, you're either escaping from or escaping through something. And so there's objectives like opening doors and setting bombs and doing stuff. And you got to survive because you only have one life as Marines. And if you just run out there and die, you're gonna. It's pretty brutal. So you actually want to take it slow, but there's a time limit on it, and stick together. So it's really fun actually because the challenge is to get to the end. And if you can't get to the end as a Marine, you don't win. You don't escape.
And then is this a mode where you flip sides?
Yes, you'll flip sides between all the modes. You flip sides.
Are all the maps available in all the modes?
No. The escape maps are very, very unique in the sense that like they're much bigger maps. They're pretty much the size of a map from the single player game. They're pretty massive. And so as such, like from A to B, you really want to have that kind of progression sense.
Right.
And so some areas, open them up, and some areas like narrow the play space. That's what's really unique about Escape is depending on where you're at, the gameplay is going to change dramatically. Because you might be in like caves at the beginning and then in open surface of LV-426. And so Xenos have to have different strategies, Marines have to have different strategies. And so it really offers a really good challenge for players.
All right, so we're waiting for our host here.
I think we're looking for one more person.
While we wait, we can answer some more questions coming in from Twitter.
Sweet.
She Eat at Denny's is interested in the Wii U version. Are you able to talk much about the Wii U version?
We haven't talked much about it. I think we're still trying to wait to do some more announcements. But one thing that I'll talk about is the Wii U has a really cool controller, and so the controller, there's a lot of extra functionality that we do within ACM, kind of if you want to think about what could be possible, think about what a Marine would actually do, like if you had like pretty much what equivalent is like a military grade iPad, like what would that be? Like what would they use it for? And
if a Marine had a Wii U, what would they do use with it?
Yeah, there's also the kind of the motion tracker makes a lot of sense.
Sure.
There's other things that Marines will probably use that for. So if you want to imagine those things, you'll probably get pretty close on what extra features there are.
Blue Dwizzle asks, how hard was it to make the lighting effects for Aliens Colonial Marines? Seems like there are a ton of dark areas for aliens to hide.
Yeah, that was actually one of the big challenge, but it's one of those things that we think we nailed pretty good in, is that, depending on the atmosphere, it builds tension, it builds, sense of horror, and also clutter and claustrophobia, and it really makes you feel different in different environments, and the lighting is such a key part of that. And so the artists, when they went through and they lighted the areas, they had to kind of keep in mind what the combat is and what the purpose was for those things, and so it really fits well. But it's not just lighting. There's also the atmospherics, and so we have a lot of the scenes. You have the lit particles, and so you have smoke coming up, and that's actually occluding your view. You got like LV-426 is a pretty humid planet, and so everything has kind of like a glow around it, which makes it feel pretty moody and atmospheric. And so there's the playing between those two was a pretty fun challenge. And we have a lot of environments, and there's lots of variations in the lighting.
Yeah. All right, we're good to go. Jumping into escape mode, one of 4 multiplayer modes. Is that
Correct.
right?
It's this one.
Okay, so starting as a Marine.
Yep.
Our objective is what?
You're trying to get to the other side of the Weyland-Yutani research facility. And so you're on LV-426, and you're trying to, for whatever reason, you think it's a good idea to go through some caves. And Marines have something in mind there. And this is cool. It kind of gives you a sense of the variety of environments that you have in Escape. And so this is very dense. It's very close quarters. And so you probably want to use a shotgun here. Exactly.
Yeah, speaking of their weapons, we're going to give a copy of the game to Raven of Darkness, who asks, are the Marine weapons balanced enough so the Xenomorphs still have a chance of putting up a good fight?
Oh, absolutely. Because the challenge of the Xenomorphs is not about how much health you have or about how much armor you have or anything like that. It's about strategy and getting around the player and killing them efficiently. And so, all the weapons for Marines, like depending on what the situation is, will kill Xenos pretty efficiently. But if, when it comes to balance, a lot has to do with the environment for the Xenos, and a lot has to do with just your strategy as a Xeno. There's definitely no overpowered Marine weapons that just kill Xenos wherever they come from. Except the Smart Gun. That's a pretty good one.
Which one?
The Smart Gun.
Oh, the Smart Gun, yeah.
Now, you only have 1 life, so if they actually kill Failure here, we're sitting out.
Oh, no.
All right. So you can try to survive. One of the other Marines needs to come back and to pull you back up. Maybe the guy named Powerlitter will help you out.
Is he going to bleed out?
Yeah, he's going to bleed out.
Oh, no.
So that was a trap.
Oh, no.
And if you want to put yourself out there as a Xeno, you can actually tear into the Marine to kill them, like actually really kill them.
Yeah.
Full out kill them.
Our driver, Chris, is being laughed at by his friends over here.
Now, fortunately, I will respawn.
If everyone makes it to the checkpoint, then he has a chance. But
does not look likely.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay, so that round went to the Xenos, or
yeah.
Okay.
The Xenos won that one pretty efficiently.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sections of this map. That was like the first 10th of the map. Less than that, actually. So, wow, you got torn up, dude.
It should be noted, we're playing with people. This is their first time ever playing the game behind us.
Okay, that's going to be our excuse.
You ran into a corner.
My controller's broken.
Yeah. You should stay with the team.
That actually leads into this question from viewer XXCM98XX. Which would you say requires more teamwork, Xenos or Marines?
Both, really, because Xenos, like, the really gratifying moments with the Xeno is when you actually do those really clever things. Like, one of the Xenos there killed Chris and stood back, and the other Marine ran up to him to try to stem him and res him, basically, and just killed the other guy, right? So it was like a trap. And so you can lay those traps. And so the Marines, that's just kind of a simple gameplay teamwork they can do as a Xeno is lay traps for each other. So yeah, it's pretty equal, really. Like a Marine by himself will not survive. Even if you're the best first-person shooter, like you're not going to survive. There's just too many Xenos, and they're just too powerful.
Now, since the other team switched to Marines, do they have the same objective that we had?
Exactly. So hopefully they'll stick together this time. A little bit further.
Oh.
So one of the guys actually has to hack a door, one of the Marines, and so the other 3 Marines have to protect him while he's doing that, and so that takes wow, that makes it a little harder for the Marines at those moments to survive.
Did they get in?
Yeah.
And I think there's a turret in that door too.
There's a turret, so you drop a turret down, you actually tear apart the Xenos as they try to rush towards you. So here's the next part. So this is kind of an example of kind of opening up a little bit more. So the Xenos, it's open space. So this is a good place to get a spitter, so you can snipe at them.
So did they reach a checkpoint?
They did.
Okay.
They did. It's cool because you can hear them behind us actually yell. The Marines are yelling together, trying to actually coordinate. So that's, when you pick your loadouts when you first start playing multiplayer this mission, probably want to pick a guy with a sniper rifle or a scope on it, so you can actually pick off the spitters that are going to be spitting at you from over here. Oh, God.
What's the Marines' objective right now?
They're still trying to get out of there. So they actually they got on the lift, and the lift was taking them up to the next point. This always gets fun.
Oh, this is looking good.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, when you get those choke points, you gotta have to. You'll die pretty quick. Like, it just gets harder and harder to survive, and so you have to do different things. Now, they didn't switch on the elevator, so that probably would have been smart.
So that's the end of that escape match.
Yep.
So who won?
It looks like the Marines or the other team did.
Okay, and what determines?
So you saw on the
winner?
left, there's a score. The other team, or Chris's team, had 5, and the other team had 10.
All right, so we'll jump into another escape game here.
Yep. Cool. I don't think we've ever shown this one. Cool.
Which map is this going to be?
Flushed out.
Anything we need to know about it before jumping in?
This is really a lot of ways very dark map in lots of areas, and so you're gonna it leads to very interesting Xeno strategies, and so you'll kind of see a little bit more Xeno, depending if the Xeno stick together or teamwork that one out. We'll see some pretty cool stuff.
And can you tell what side you're going to start as before you jump in?
On the right, the blue is Xeno or Marines, and the green is Xenos.
Okay.
And so it looks like we have a little bit not balanced.
We're going to be outnumbered.
That's probably really terrifying. Wow, 5 Xenos versus. Okay, this is going to be fun.
Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Get to the elevator now.
So these are the sewers underneath Hadley Soap. So between the atmospheric processor and the colony, there's a lot of work that happened underground. And so this is that part they're exploring. Yeah, this is where if you're playing as Xeno, you probably don't want to spawn as a spitter because it's not going to be, you don't have a lot of good sight lines. But man, there's a lot of overhangs in the ceiling, so if a Xeno gets on the ceiling and tail stabs people as they come by, they're going to wreck it. Someone's got a flamethrower. Nice. See on the ceiling where it's really dark? That's a perfect place for Xenos to come. There's also that. Nice. Yeah, go, you gotta hit that button, Killer. Oh. Shoot him, save him.
Okay. We were revived.
Nice.
I could run back there and like unplug the controllers from the PCs or something.
Oh, we have a trader Xeno. Nice. That's pretty impressive that you survived this
All
long.
right, we hit the checkpoint.
Yeah.
Are there health packs in this mode?
There are health
Very
packs
good.
scattered around, so there's a little bit of risk reward. Because sometimes if you're low on health, you got to go get the health packs. At the very beginning, we're a little bit more lenient, a little bit more forgiving because you can see all the ammo. But later on, you got to make some choices. Like if you want to go out there and grab the health, you're gonna put yourself out there because that might not be in the line of the objective you're trying to get to. So you're setting up a defense perimeter right now, and so you put down a sentry turret. You probably want to check out the ceiling and see where the Xenos can come in, and kind of like scout out what the possibilities are.
Let's give a copy of the game to No Elm Street, who asks, what is the learning curve for playing an alien? Is it easy to pick up?
It's pretty easy to pick up. Crawling on the walls and coming up with the strategies to kind of to hide, and it takes a little bit of experience playing those maps. But once you get into it, you catch on pretty fast. It's actually kind of harder for Marines sometimes because a lot of people when they play first-person shooters, they run out there because they're going to be
Sure.
Rambo. They're going to and that really doesn't work out well for them.
Who's trapped under an alien?
It's horrible.
The flamethrower seems to be pretty effective.
It is. It really is. The range isn't as far as some of the other guns, but when you light a Xeno on fire, they go down pretty fast. Especially in the single player, when you come across eggs, it's one of the best ways to actually get rid of the eggs.
Hopefully one of our teammates can get to us.
Yep. So one of the things too, your motion tracker will give you a reading of some of the pickups around you. And kind of the idea behind that is like all the ammo and health packs, stuff like that, have kind of like RFID tags in them. So you kind of get a sense of, like, the Marines know where their stuff is, and so they use that as kind of a way to find their stashes.
So we made it to one checkpoint as Marines, but then we were all taken out.
Yep.
We'll try our hand as the aliens now.
This is really tough to watch Chris play because I'm like, I want to play.
Yeah.
Like, no.
5 Marines.
Just about 10 minutes left in our live stream today, folks. If you have any last-minute questions, get them in now. Tweet them at IGN.
Defend your position, Marines.
But it's really interesting when you die as a Xeno, you kind of know what the Marines are doing, and so you have a strategical choice. So is this a situation where a spitter makes sense, or is it a situation where a lurker makes sense? And the lurker's key move is he does a pounce, which is an instant kill if you succeed with the pounce. However, you're on top of the Marine clawing at his face for a little while, so the other Marines can actually shoot you off.
I see.
So in this case, there's enough Marines to kill the lurker. So what you probably want to do is either snipe at him as a spitter, or just to get their health down, so later you can actually take them out. Or as a soldier, go in there and do tail swipes.
This is a pretty lopsided game because we only had 3 on our team when we were Marines, and now they've got 6 or something, right?
Yeah, they got 5, so they're cheating a little bit. But hopefully we'll see more of the map, so that. So you probably want to go down there and start sniping at them. Now the spitter also has some of the it's one of the weaker ones when it comes to health, and so even though you got distance on you, you're going to go down pretty fast if they get a beat on you. Now here's a probably good time to get go get a soldier. Yeah. All right. So wait till someone splits up and then take them out. Because Marines always do this, where they'll go start shooting a Xeno and they'll run forward, and one of them will split off just a little bit. So wait for that guy. Just don't run in there. Just wait for a second, and then pick that guy off when he does that.
That doesn't sound like as much fun.
Man, when you kill him, it's fun. So yeah, there's a straggler. Oh. Almost got him.
Oh.
So you can see the soldier has a little bit more health, and so in this situation, he can get in there and take more bullets before he goes down. But yeah, definitely you want to have, in some of these cases, a spitter to kind of, soften him up. Oof. Oh, and they brought this sentry gun with them.
Just don't leave home without it.
The Marines got some good strategy on this one.
Is it Gearbox guys playing as the Marines, or are these community?
No, these are just community guys. Here,
they're picking it up pretty quickly.
Here, Failer, you can announce. I'm gonna kill some Marines for you.
Here we go. Brian is taking the wheel. He's gonna show us how it's done.
Man, I got a sweet headset now.
You're close. You can get all of them right now.
Take him out.
If I was a boiler, it'd be
This
awesome.
is my thought process. This is why I'm terrible at poker.
See how I got it behind him?
This one's going to be good.
Just like that. See, that's how you take him out.
One left.
See, they lined up, and you got it. I got it behind
And
him.
it looks like you actually got him down permanently.
Did I? Hell yeah, I did. So I might have just ended the match. Sorry about that. Oh. So that's unfortunate.
And when you stop moving for a second, you stop appearing on their motion tracker.
I see.
Yeah. All right, so I'm not going to make it through that way.
Oh, no.
That's a good place to put one of those.
You've got 5 minutes to take these guys down.
All right, I'm going to do it. Oh, did it again. Dang it. Go around. They got out?
And
they made their way out?
No. I guess they did.
That's it. They made it to the end.
Jerks.
Nice.
Almost got him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, can you get Sean and Angie and Chris on here?
Cool.
Yeah. We can actually hear that on your microphone.
So I think we want to show some of the upgrades.
Yeah, and I think we're going to show a little bit of Ultimate Badass too.
Oh, that's right. The Ultimate Badass mode.
Oh, there you go. Do you want to show the customizations first, or do we want to?
Yeah, we'll get into customizations, and then we'll just show a minute of Ultimate Badass because
Awesome.
Got it.
I don't need to embarrass myself further today.
All right. So what are you going to show? What upgrades are you going to show us here?
All right. Go to your customizations real fast.
Do we want weapon or do we want visuals?
I don't know. What do you think?
What's that?
Weapons or visuals?
Let's do visuals.
Okay. Cool. And so you got a selection of characters here. When you pre-order some of the collector's edition stuff, you can actually play as characters from the film. So you can actually play as Apone or Drake or Hicks or Hudson. And so we actually had the voice actors, actually like Al Matthews, Apone, voiced
So you got all the
himself
original voice actors
in there. Yeah, so it was really cool to actually see, like, to work with them.
Of course.
Yeah, it was insane. So we don't actually have those unlocked on this build. I would love to show you guys that.
That's really cool.
But it's really cool to actually have Apone be Apone. So cool. And so you actually have a bunch of different customizations here. You can change your goggles. You can change what you have on your chest. If you go to your let's go to your chest emblem. A little bit more. There's a lot of options. So change that one out. If you scroll down, all the way. There's a lot. Do the UK CM1.
It's locked.
Oh, well, you can see it. So you got to get a preview. So that's a kind of a shout out to some of our fans in the UK that helped
Nice.
work some events.
And how are all these items unlocked?
And so depending on what you do, like whether you level up or complete challenges, you unlock different things. And so that's one of the ways that you do that. And so you can see at the bottom it says rank up or complete challenge. And so each one's a little different in that respect. You can actually look at the challenges to see what it gives you. So there's Angie. So it's pretty sweet. Face paint. Also sweet arm tattoos too if you want to do some of that. You can customize like on your shoulder pads, on your chest. You can change the straps that are on you. You can change what like just all the different pieces you have. Your camo patterns, your appearance. You can also change your voices too. Like you go to the voice list and you can change how you want to sound. So there's a whole bunch of different options there for you.
Very cool.
But yeah. Depending on what you want to look like, you can totally customize yourself out.
Now, Ultimate Badass mode is the highest difficulty?
Yes. So this is pretty
what
much the
changes
mode
there?
where we don't pull any punches, and if you get hit by a Xeno, you're going to die. Acid is going to kill you. It's pretty mean.
No.
So what are we going to use to demonstrate?
I don't know. What's a good map? Do the third mission.
Well, why don't we go through the first mission again in case there's anybody who didn't catch it the first
Oh
time?
yeah, totally a great idea. Let's play through the first one real fast. Actually, no, that it takes about 10 minutes to get to a Xeno. So actually, play the third mission.
Okay.
All right, we're jumping into the third mission here. Show off Ultimate Badass mode. What's what are the differences? Or were you
going back and forth now?
I'm going back and forth. I'm
doesn't know what mission to show.
Why don't we do the first one because we've already shown me beating it.
Go. Okay.
We're going into overtime here to show off Ultimate Badass mode. What do we choose? The first mission?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
We're gonna try and run through this as fast as we can and get to a Xeno.
Yeah. Now, some of the things you'll notice when you first start this is you don't have a HUD, right? And you also you don't have a now you have the laser dot scope right now. Normally you don't have a crosshair, And so some of the settings you can change. You can see some of that stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of fans really called out and said, the HUD's cool and all, and the eyepiece is fine, but we really want to have that kind of authentic feeling of like you're a Marine. You have none of these extra things that help you understand what your health is, or what your these little leveling up, like what your level is. They just want to see like you're just clean, and all the thing that what your ammo is is on the side of your gun. So that's really fun to see and play as, because it really is difficult because you don't know when you're going to die. So you have to have visual cues, and you have to see like if your screen gets red, and you have to kind of be more in touch with what's where you're at.
20 minutes before total collapse. Shut it down.
So,
do aliens have more health?
Aliens actually, it depends. They don't change too much. But the damage they do is drastic. And so when an Ultimate Badass being more authentic, when Xenos get on top of Marines in the film, they kill them in 1 or 2 hits, just like you'd expect. And so in this difficulty, you see it all.
Let's give away our final copy of the game to Jedi Mind Trick 69, who asks, did Fox give you any restrictions on what you absolutely can and can't do in this game?
Fox was actually pretty cool to work with, because they were really into helping us like find ways to make it as authentic as possible. And when we brought up things that we really never, because our intention was to be authentic and canonical, that we didn't ask too many crazy questions, right? Now, when it comes to certain things, they actually provided more information to us. Like Lance Henriksen in the film, he had this kind of like bronze pomade in his hair, and he was like, we should really put that in there because Lance really cared about that. It's like, sure, okay, great. And so we did. But they helped us out. They didn't really. There wasn't many cases of that. So it was, and when there was those times, they'd be like, that's cool, but this is how you do it in this sense to make it actually fit in the universe. We're gonna speed run this.
Remember what I said about heroics, kid. Actual out.
Cool. Yep.
All right, I think we're gonna have to just about wrap it up. How far are we from from some combat here?
About 20 seconds.
Okay, we can wait 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're gonna go fight that Lurker again. So Lurkers are powerful, and he'll probably kill Failure really fast. But it's the big thing about Ultimate Badass is those things I was talking about earlier, is that you actually have we're not helping you as much. Like you actually have to listen to the audio cues for the motion tracker. You have to see what your ammo counter is on the side of your gun. You have to count your bullets if your gun doesn't have an ammo counter. Like there's a lot of that. Like the training wheels are off. So it's the as authentic as you can get.
Where am I? Winner.
Poor Keys.
Grab your torch. Get me the hell out of here. Yeah! Shoot that thing! Yeah! Shoot that thing!
Yeah, Lurkers are pretty vicious because they'll stop running, and so they don't show up in your motion tracker. So you have to hear them, and you have to listen for them, because they make this weird, creepy sound, and that's pretty much the only way you're actually going to be able to hear and figure out where they're at. And they're going to dart around, so after a while, if you kind of behind them, they'll dart and try to get away. So you got to look for them. Oh. There it is, to the right. Shoot him. Okay.
Well done.
There we go. Well, the horde of Xenos coming up in a second. It's really where you get that sense of, you need to get them away from you as quickly as possible, or else they will tear you apart. Not quite sure if you have enough time to see that part, but it's. That's pretty cool.
So this is Ultimate Badass Mode. This is the hardest difficulty in the game.
This is the first level, so
Yeah.
it's easier on you.
That is going to bring us to the end of our live stream today. Brian and Shane, thank you so much for showing us off Aliens Colonial Marines today.
Thank you.
That's really cool. Viewers, thank you for tuning in. The game is out February 12th. You can look for a review very soon right here on IGN. Everybody, enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you.